my lovelies, and welcome to the NPC Reviews. I'm kind of hiding at the moment. Clearly, there seems to be an intruder in the Hamlet, and not the fun kind that leads to deeper interpersonal bonds, personal growth, and the understanding of the fundamental forces of the world around you. Which is all very important for someone's development, at least the result if not the prowler stalking you. Luz, however, doesn't get the danger-free option in today's trek to the Boiling Isles, the Owl House, Episode 4. I'm so scared. Maybe someone else's danger will make me feel better. Does that make me a bad person? Our story continues with the defeat of a ducky sock, a very fearsome foe, and the beginning of Demonology 101, as taught by King.
Demons like me are grim tricksters of the twilight, creatures of sulfur and bone.
And cute little paws.
Much to his dismay, though, Luz can't help but cutify it. King is less than happy with Luz's distraction.
Luce, pay attention! This information could save your life someday!
No, I am so paying attention. This is my paying attention face.
And after that empty promise, the rain starts. Unfortunately, it is not a happy kind of rain, but luckily Ida comes in and saves the day. Oh, Luz is practicing the boar position. It's really good for getting those natural angles out. As folks are running from the boiling rain on the Boiling Isles. Who'd have thought? Luz is getting bandaged by King and they are bonding over being boo-boo buddies. Daw. Anyway, the outdoors is out of the question while rain falls. King warns of the snaggleback, who likes to hunt in the boiling rain. But that is disparaged by Ida, and after some insistence from Hootie about his precious stucco, Ida puts up a barrier to protect the house, and we get this assessment from Luz.
Someday I'd like to be as cool as Ida the Owl Lady. Magical, sassy, surprisingly foxy for her age.
After some more banter about why she's called the Owl Lady.
Because I'm so wise.
Cause she coughs up rat bones?
I think it's because she gets distracted by shiny objects.
It turns out the barrier spell took more out of her and she wants to sleep. But Luz wants to use this time to finally get Ida to teach her some magic. Canceling the demonology lesson, sad King is sad. Luz pesters Ida, but Ida is firm in her tiredness until Luz pulls out the Lyta pen and offers the deal of one spell for Ida's new precious, to which she reluctantly agrees. With much fatigue, Ida begins the lesson with the basic creation of light. Shiny. King tries to regain his student, but Luz has the blinders on and disregards him. Ida continues.
Where do you think magic comes from?
It comes from pain.
Okay, that might be a bit too much. If CB were here, she could tell me.
From the heart?
Actually, you're right. No, really. It comes from a sack of magic bile attached to a witch's heart.
This is fascinating, but I do have to wonder what else Ida keeps in there. Spellcraft instruction continues with the spell circles, but it comes up that Luz doesn't have a bile sac to channel magic. So how is she supposed to do it? We learn that witches somehow did it differently in the past, and Ida assures Luz she will figure it out, much to her disappointment. And with that, the lesson ends, and Ida wants to sleep. She is a sleepy little owl after all. However, Luz begs one more spell out of her.
One more spell won't kill you.
Fine. Now you see, the spell circle is really key because... oh boy.
No, but she is out cold, and after calming a panicking Luz, they drag her up to her nest. Looking at the nest, I can't help but wonder if Ida is an owl or a dragon. After some guilt from Luz and a last bapping, they leave Ida be. Luz tries with no success to cast a spell, and King tries also with no success once more to get her attention, and they finally have a heart-to-heart.
Why do you want to learn magic so bad anyway?
I was a nobody back home, but becoming a witch is my chance to be someone. Do you know what it's like to have no one take you seriously?
After this, King offers to help Luz get some magic in exchange for more demon lessons. An accord is reached, and King pauses.
Every day I notice Ida sneaking drinks of this special elixir, see? Then she always gets a boost of energy, see? I think that's where she gets her powers, and I know where to get some.
After some sneaking and the purloining of the potion, Luz goes to down the mana potion when the gods decide, no, and she drops the potion. I've lost too much good tea that way. And to add insult to injury, the power goes out. When it rains, it pours, eh? The deluge continues as the lights are tied to Hootie, and it seems he's under attack. Oh no! And we see this monster. Luckily, Hootie isn't dead in splinters, but what could have attacked them?
Oh my gosh, the snaggleback! It feeds during the rains. It must have stumbled across our house and seen us inside.
King is glad to have the opportunity to study a wild demon, but Luz wants to stay far away. However, King reminds her that Ida is now in danger from the thing because she knocked her out, and so with much guilt, they suit up like baby's first attempt at hockey and begin making their way to Ida's room. Upon arrival, they discover that, gasp, she's been taken by the snaggleback. Luz asks for King's expertise, and he rushes off to get his books, forgetting that you never split the party, and returns to Luz being gone. Catching sight of Moo, he runs to save his boo-boo buddy. Once cornered, it is revealed that it is the snaggleback, but he's not as frightening in person, and that something else is stalking them.
Oh
With the red shirt gone, King is then cornered by the true monster, and after some hollow commands, runs for it. Luckily, he gets rescued by Luce, who was hiding. From there, they discover that the elixir was to suppress a curse, and that the monster is actually...
Here's Johnny.
No, it's actually...
Ida?
As they're about to get eaten, luckily the phone flash goes off, blinding Ida and letting them escape. They hide, and King freaks out.
The elixir I gave you doesn't give Ida powers. It prevents her from turning into that thing. She's turned into a nightmare, and it's all my fault.
Yes.
I'm so sorry, Luce. I just wanted you to be into demons like you're into magic. I don't have many friends, and no one even pays that much attention to me. I thought maybe if I taught you, finally someone would care about creatures like me.
After that feels-inducing confession, Luce forgives/accepts him, and finishing the lesson, King breaks down what they know.
Let's see. She was bigger, covered in feathers, and had giant black eyes. Demons with black eyes are usually sensitive to light.
Kind of like that. But unfortunately their only source of light is broken, and at the suggestion of the light spell, Luz bemoans her inability to produce a spell circle. Upon a cracked review though, she discovers the core glyph, and with a tracing...
There. It's beautiful.
She gains her first cantrip, and joy envelops the young woman. But back to the matter at hand. They develop a plan. Using Ida's primal love of the sparkle, they lure her into a dead end and blast her with a wall-sized light spell. And after a forced feeding of her elixir, Ida is restored, but not without some complications. Work that boar position. Oh. Ouch. Anyway, Ida is rightfully furious with King, but her wrath is stayed by...
Ho, 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 it's magic, you know.
King explains and also apologizes, but Ida has something to say.
I was cursed. I don't know exactly how it happened. All I know is that if I don't take my elixir, well, that's why people call me the Owl Lady. No one likes having a curse, but yeah, if you take the right steps, it's manageable. There's nothing for you to worry about. It's all under control.
With Hootie calling for aid, Luz and King go to help, and Ida dreams. But is the old dream of the curse giver. This is segued by bandages, and King realizing he needs to amend the section on the Snaggleback, to his sadness. Also, when you think about it, all the reasons that they call Ida the Owl Lady were right. I gotta move to a new spot. This episode was the horror episode for everyone. Think about it. Isolated environment, home invasion, and locked in with a monster. Though it does lean more on the suspense side of the horror spectrum. All the tropes fit in the Boiling Isles. Freaky weather that isolates the group makes sense, but that there might be something out there that resists his effects doesn't break anything. Except the doors. The owl house is isolated, and you know they're not going to call the guards. So no help is coming. Thus alone, they have no choice but to face the monster or perish. Though a horror story, the episode spends its metaphor points elsewhere, and so the horror is the extraordinary circumstances that force change and growth on the characters rather than the focus itself, as is usually the case with horror. The use of Ida's curse as a metaphor for chronic illness is a clever one, and her desire to hide it syncs up with the habit of a lot of people to hide their illnesses, be it shame, not wanting to be a burden to others, or not wanting to appear weak. If I were to hazard a guess, it's the second of the two for Ida, as she values her independence and her reputation as the strongest witch highly, and the lesson of not being ashamed, it can be managed, and a full life can be had is always relevant. The character actions and development for all of them are understandable and progressing nicely. Luz has definite blinders for magic, and would reasonably fall into rude and oblivious mode, which in turn aggravates King's insecurity. King is sensitive, and often deprived of affection and being taken seriously, and so when he finally has someone who seems inclined to give him both, it's not surprising that he would attempt to foster more of this, especially the respect. But friendships don't work like that, so you can't force these things, which he learns. Couple this with how Luz's yearning for magic comes from a similar place, and it's not surprising that mutual affection and respect starts to occur organically once they share their feelings and bond. On her end, Ida learns not to have shame and to trust her friends. They should be informed just in case an emergency happens. That's just responsible, especially if you turn into an owl beast. Just saying. Regarding Luz seeing glyphs while King couldn't, some have postulated that Luz is unique in this regards, or has some kind of special bloodline. I do not think this is the case, as that kind of scenario would run counter to the themes of the show and Luz's personal journey. She is unique as she is the only human on the Boiling Isles at the moment, and that's it. Her ability to see the glyphs of the spell circles, I think, comes from the fact that she's not from a magically saturated environment. Witches feel magic all the time and have no need to see the glyphs, so they don't. Luz is sensitive to magic from its absence, like having caffeine for the first time. This could also double as a physical representation of her role of being a fresh perspective on magic and the culture of the Boiling Isles as a whole. Metaphors upon metaphors. A lot springs from this episode, from the discovery of the old style of magic, and what that means for the larger paradigm, to Luz learning to work magic, to Ida's curse and the mystery of the one who cursed her. Much will come of this.
And a lot of that can be linked back directly to King's insecurity.
Boiling rains, remember?
No, let her
try. It'll be funny.
As you might have guessed, this is a critical episode that can't be missed. It's filled with the heartwarming stuff that is Luz and King's bonding, and it also gives payoff for Luz's persistence while opening up new vistas to explore both in the Boiling Isles and in the larger narrative. Give it a watch if you haven't already. Okay, I think the danger has passed. I thought wrong. I have nothing. Please don't hurt me, for I am squishy and prone to bruising. Hi, CB. What's that? I didn't touch anything. You said I could look through those. Hey, CB, I want to look up some stuff. Could I borrow that tome of Eldritch lore of yours? We've lived together for a while now, and I wanted to learn more about, all this. I wanted to do the research before possibly asking something awkward. Thanks, CB. Wait, what? That's cute. Oh, come on. Well, that's it until I get out of here, so until next time, fare thee well, my lovelies.